Hello, welcome to SS Unitech. Susil this side, and this is continuation of SSIS tutorial. So today we gonna discuss about how we can load data into our database from Excel file. So here you can see you will face two type of scenarios. So our first scenario is when database table contains n varchar data type for string data. Like as we can see, we have a table. It contains four columns. First is ID, then name, then date of birth, and then salary. So we have four columns. So in name column we can see we have n varchar data type, and we want to load the data in this table. Initially we don't have any data. Let's have a look of Excel file. So this is our Excel file. As we can see, it has four columns: ID, name, date of birth, and salary. So we want to load this data into that table. So first of all, we have to use a data flow task because we are dealing with movement of data. So we have to use data flow task inside the control flow. And when we move to data flow panel, then we can see we have to use Excel source from which we want to get the data, then OLEDB destination where we want to load the data. So let's move to SSDT to create the package. So here we need to create a new package. Right click on this SSIS package, new SSIS package, and we want to rename this with Excel to database and varchar. So this is our package. So we have to use a data flow task. So we can drag and drop this data flow task, and once we double click on this, it will directly move to data flow panel. So inside data flow panel we have to use Excel source. So we can drag and drop this Excel source, and here we need to make the connection with Excel file. So once we double click on this Excel source, then it will ask for Excel connection manager. So we don't have Excel connection manager at yet, so we need to create a new one. It will ask for Excel file path, so we need to specify that file. We can browse and we can see, and this is our Excel source. So we can select this file and click on open. Once we click on open, then we need to select the sheet from which we want to get the data. So we want to get the data from sheet 1. As we can see, we have data in our sheet 1. In sheet 2 we don't have any data, and in sheet 3 we don't have any data. So in sheet 1 we have the data, so we can select the sheet 1. Once we go to on columns, then we can see we have ID, name, date of birth, and salary. We have all the columns. Then click on OK. So we have done our source part. Now we move to our destination. So we want to load the data in our SQL Server table. So we have to use OLEDB destination. Now we can map, and once we double click on this OLEDB destination, so here it will ask for connection manager. So we need to click on new. Once we click on new, then we can see our configuration OLEDB connection manager. We already have a connection. So now I am going to delete this one and click on new. It will ask for server name. So we can select our server name. So this is our server name. Once we click on server name, then it will ask for database name where we want to connect. So here we want to connect with SSIS test. Now we can check our connection. Text connection succeed. Then click on OK. Again click on OK and click on OK. So here we need to select the table name where we want to load the data. So we want to load the data in our employee data destination n varchar table. Now go to on mapping. So mapping succeed and click on OK. So as we can see in our table, initially we don't have any data. Now I am going to run this package. 6 rows. So these 6 rows should be inserted in our table. So we can select and we can execute. As we can see, we are getting the data. Once we have n varchar data type for string data in our SQL Server table, and we want to get the data from Excel file and load in our SQL Server table, then we don't need to worry about it. It will directly move to data from our Excel source to destination, and our Excel source will return n varchar data type instead of varchar. Our second case, when database table contains varchar for string data. So as we can see in our second table, so this is our second table, and It also has the same structure as our first table, but it has varchar data type for name column. Now we want to load the data in our second table, and we can execute and we can check. We don't have any data right now. How we can load the data? First of all, again we have to use a data flow task inside the control flow panel, because we are dealing with movement of data. And then once we move to data flow panel, then we can see first we have to use Excel source, and then we have to use a transformation which is data conversion. So data conversion, because Excel source will return an varchar data type, and in our database we have varchar data type, so it will not be mapped correctly. We have to use a data conversion by which we will convert our varchar data type to varchar data type. Go to on SSDT. Now create a new package. Now this time Excel to database and varchar. We have to use a data flow task, so we can drag and drop this data flow task. Once we double click on this, it will directly move to data flow panel. So in data flow panel, we need to use Excel source. We can drag and drop this Excel source. Then we need to make the connection. Once we double click on this Excel source, it will ask for Excel connection manager. So we don't have any Excel connection manager at this time, so we need to create new one. Once we click on new, then it will ask for Excel file path. Now we can select our file. So this is our file, and click on OK. Then it will ask for Excel sheet. So we want to get the data from sheet 1. We can select sheet 1, go to columns. We want all the columns, then click on OK. So we have done our source part. Now we need to load the data in our SQL Server table. So we have to use OLEDB destination. We can drag and drop this and connect. Now again we need to make the connection for this OLEDB connection manager. Click on new. We have already made the connection, so I am going to use this one. Click on OK. Now we need to select the table, but this time we want to load the data where string data contains varchar data type. Click on OK. Now go to mapping, mapping succeed, and click on OK. So here we can see our destination will not be succeed. If we read, then we can see column name cannot convert between Unicode and non-Unicode string data types. So we have to convert first. So delete this connection, and we have to use a data conversion. Go to on columns, and we can see we have a transformation which is data conversion. We can drag and drop this data conversion, and once we double click on this, then we want to convert data type for this name, and our new data type should be string. So we can select our string and click on OK. So once we click on OK, and we can see if we want to rename our output alias name, then we can also rename like name new. So now click on OK. Now we need to map this data conversion with our destination. Click on destination, go to on mapping, and this time we don't want to map name with name. We want to map this name with name new. So we can drag and drop this name new and click on OK. Now we can see error has been gone. Now we can execute this package. Once we execute this package, then we can see our package succeed and 6 rows should be inserted in our table. So go to SQL Server Management Studio and execute our select statement. So as we can see, we have 6 rows. So I hope you have understand how we can load the data if our database table contains varchar data type for string and varchar data type for string. Now we have few key points to be remembered. So our first point is it make connections with Excel workbook. So if we need to access multiple sheets in same workbook, then we don't require to create connection for each sheets. Once we create the connection with our Excel workbook, then we can access all the which is available in the same Excel workbook. Or second is we can also sort data at source by selecting is sorted property true and set a sequence in columns sort key position. So we will cover this part once we understand about the merge. Next is we can select only specific range from Excel if required. Like in our Excel source, as we can see, we are getting 6 rows, but we want to insert only 3 rows in our database. So how we can select only this specific range? So for this, we need to understand about the data access mode. So here we specify how we want to fetch the data. For example, if we have table or sheet name in a variable, then we can use it. Or if we want to write SQL statement to get the data, then also we can use it. In our scenario, we can see we have 4 types. First is table or view. Second, table name or view name variable. Third is SQL command. Fourth is SQL command from variable. So I am going to use SQL command to select the specific range of data. So go to SSDT. Once you double click on this, then we can see table or view. So I am going to change with SQL command. Here we need to write the SQL command. So select star from, then we need to specify sheet name, sheet 1, then we have to specify $sign. After that, we need to specify the range. As we can see, select our first 3 rows. So we want to get 1, 2 and 3. So these 3 IDs, and we also want to get our column names. So we will pick the data from A1 to D4, A1 to D4. Now we can preview and we can check. It's going to return only first 3 rows as we are expected. So go to on columns and we can see we are getting all the columns. Click on OK, then execute our package. Once we execute our package succeed. Now go to on SSMS and execute our select statement. So we can see we have 3 rows. So I hope you have understand how we can select the specific range, and we have also understand about the data access mode, and we will understand about the table name or view name variable and SQL command variable. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe our channel to get many more videos, and please share to others. Thank you so much.